Hello, hello. It's Attorney Mike Grevin coming to you from Chicago. As usual, we had an interesting one today. Warning, I do not have the whole hearing. Number one. Number two, I don't even know if it's done. I doubt it is. It's a jury trial on an armed robbery. I just wasn't able to get all of it. And what I've got is the opening arguments and the first witnesses. It's interesting. We have actual competent attorneys with a competent judge having a competent trial. It's really fascinating. It's not funny. Like, I already gave you a Karen and a Moor sovereign citizen rolling into the 36D today. Yeah, But this is really, really cool. It's interesting. If anybody knows, feel free to put it in the chat. I don't care about spoilers. If anybody knows what happened with the rest of the day, in fact, if you know, or if you have the video, or if you can tell me what time they start tomorrow, those would all be useful. Let me know. Message me, put it in the chat, something. I don't know. Let's get going, shall we? It's pretty cool.
So he's walking. Could you see who he was?
I could tell it was a young guy.
Okay.
Where it was.
Did he have anything on, like a hoodie or anything?
Yeah.
Did he have the hood up or did he have the hood down?
When I saw him walking, he had the hood down.
Right. What did you do once you saw him turn around?
I didn't really pay much mind. I was, reaching out in the car for my cigarettes.
Where were your cigarettes at? Do you remember?
I just didn't.
Did you reach in to get cigarettes? What's the next thing that you remember having?
Well, that's when I was getting in my car, and that's when I, hear footsteps and, kind of felt presence. That's when I turned around. That's when
Turn around and what?
he had a gun in my face.
Had a gun in your face. Could you tell, did it look like a real gun?
Yes.
What kind of gun was it? Yes, sir.
Thank you. Go ahead with opening statements.
It's not for us to argue our case. This is just basically to set out a roadmap of what we think the evidence is going to show. So I'm just going to tell you what I think the evidence is going to show how this is going to proceed on my part as far as the state of the case. You're going to hear from Mr. Carson Kilgore. He's going to tell you back on August 29th of 2018 at 5386 Don Street, where he lived at the time. He was a manager, kind of like a kitchen manager. He worked at Sugar's. Remember Sugar's just closed down recently. He worked there until late at night, and he would go home and just kind of wind down. And about 2 o'clock in the morning, he decided he wanted to smoke a cigarette. So he went out to his car because his cigarettes, he left them in the car. So
You'll see
that he walked out to his car. And as he's walking out, he sees a young man who's walking kind of away from him when he first got out. But when he looked up again, he noticed that the man was coming back. This time had the hoodie up on him. It didn't pay much attention other than just saw him walking down the street. He opens his door to his car. You're going to hear him say that he reached in to grab a cigarette, and he kind of felt, how sometimes you feel somebody's presence, and he looks up, and there's this young man with the hoodie has the gun in his face and tells him, "Give me what you got." When he tells him he doesn't have anything, the young man that has the gun is going to tell him there's a wallet. He can see his wallet laying in the car. Carson forgot he left his wallet in the car. It was laying in the seat. So when he tells him that, he swings the gun at him, and you're going to hear Carson say that he got out of the way and the gun grazed his cheek. You're going to get to see a little scratch that hit his cheek with the gun going down, hitting him just as he got out of its way. You're going to hear the term, I believe the term is pistol whip. When somebody hits you with a pistol, usually you get a bunch of hits, but this is a term used in one of the reports. But he gets hit by the gun. He gives him the wallet. The guy turns and runs off. You're going to hear the 911 call that Carson Kilgore made. He called 911, told people he was robbed right away. They send the police out. You're going to hear from one of the police officers, Officer Cross. He's going to tell you that when he arrived, they had a general description and an idea of where this person had run to from the dispatch. So you're going to see at the very first, there's a bunch of police officers and K9 and everybody just kind of running all over the place with flashlights trying to find this person who ran off because you can hear Carson Kilgore kind of lost sight of them when they got around the corner and got into the dark. Jumped the fence, couldn't see.
I have a little bit of that video in this clip, and the best part is that there's a canine running around
Where they were. You can hear Officer Cross went and talked to Carson Kilgore. You can hear Carson's story. He's going to tell you that this person that did this was about 16 to 18 years old. At the time, he described him as about 5'5", 5'6" to the police officer. Later on, he talked to the detective. He told him 5'7", 5'8". He just knew that they were taller than him, so he was taking a guess at the height. Because Carson, you're going to learn, is about 5'2". He's short, so when he looks at pretty much everybody that's a little taller. You're going to hear that he describes him as having small eyes, medium complexion, about medium build, not too big, not too little, but not just slim, but a little bit bigger. He's going to identify him as a medium complexion black male that was wearing a black hoodie, black clothes, and took off running. And also, he's going to describe the gun as a black gun. So you're going to hear him as he shows you his injuries. He's going to identify some photographs of his injury on his cheek. He's going to tell you that the area that right there in front of his house, you're going to get to see it on the officer's video, and a big security light just right out there on the corner there that shines pretty bright light where he's at, so that he was able to see this person's face. That was on August 29th. A few days later, he gets a pop-up. You know how sometimes you get pop-up news things on your phone that says, this is going on, this is news if you have alert. And his pop-up comes on, and there's an individual that the police are looking for as a person of interest in something, and he sees the photograph, and he says, that's the guy that robbed me. And he immediately leaves from Sugar's where he's at, sees that pop-up, and he goes down to the police station, Sugar police officer, and tells him this is the guy that did it. So they got together a photo.
This is actually Matlock.
Spread of several young males, and they put it together. They showed it to him. An officer showed it to him that doesn't have anything to do with this case. Shows them the photographs one at a time. You're going to get to see those photographs. Shows them one at a time, and then says, even if you see the person you think is it, we're going to keep showing you the photographs. And he identifies the photograph of the defendant over here. And he says he's 100% sure. Still 100% sure today. You're going to hear in the courtroom that this is the same individual. You're going to hear that at the time that the defendant was booked into the jail from a Detective Mentor, from Jefferson County Sheriff's Office, that at the time he was booked in, he was 5'10", weighed 160 pounds. And you're also going to hear that at my request that the defendant was photographed again in his current condition and weighed and measured, that he is now 6'1" and weighs 250 pounds. And so he's grown a lot since in the last 5 years. You're also going to hear from Detective Spike from the Beaumont Police Department. Detective Spike is going to tell you that he knows this young man. He's known him for a long time, had contact with him many times over the years in different capacities, and knows that that young man was a smaller version of himself today, and so he knows that that's the person then, and this is the person now. It's the same one that Carson Kilgore identified. You're going to find out that there were no cameras in any of the houses around. There was no weapon recovered, but you're going to see a photograph of the defendant that's going to be identified by Carson Kilgore that they got off of a social media post that he posted, and Carson Kilgore said that's the same young male that robbed him. And in his pocket sticking out is a gun that matches the description, same or similar to the gun that was used in the robbery, sticking out of his pocket. And so that's how Carson came to say that that's what type of gun it was, because he described it at the scene, and you're hearing him describe it again as you see it sticking out of the person's pocket. It's a pretty simple case. It's not very complicated because there's not a lot of outside evidence, because this young man picked a 2 o'clock in the morning in a neighborhood where there weren't any people out, and took the thing and ran, and nobody could catch him for a few days. And so he had time to get rid of everything that he had. So it's just asking you to listen carefully, see what the complaint is, and I'll look forward to it.
Mr. Megan, do you want to make an opening statement now?
Very briefly, Your Honor.
You may.
Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, the case hinges on that identification. It's our position that's wrong. Picked the wrong man. He saw a picture that was very suggestive, and all of a sudden it became the person that did it. And it stayed that all that way. That's pretty much it. Listen for the evidence. Thank you.
Okay, that may have not seemed exciting to you, and it isn't. But I've been through a lot of these things, and those are two competent guys getting directly to the point, not getting out of line, focusing on what they need to. This is an ID case. He's going to say it wasn't my guy, and to run around and try to just talk for 20 minutes doesn't do you any good. He's punching the point. It's not my guy, and their ID is not good. And the other guy did a nice, relatable opening statement. It seems a little more boring because the angle. They don't want to put the camera so that the jurors can be seen here. You know, he's speaking to them and making eye contact and all that. But these are just two old litigating dogs that know what they're doing. For me, it's refreshing.
First witness.
Paul Carson Kilgore, Your Honor.
That's why we're waiting on him. I will inform the court that Mr. Kilgore woke up with a stomach virus this morning, so if he needs to take a break to the restroom, I may have to ask the court for
Little TMI.
Raise your right hand, sir. Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony that you are about to give shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? Let's see.
So here's our guy. Here's the victim.
Can you state your name for the record, please?
Carson Kilgore.
You working anywhere?
Yes, sir.
Where do you work now? Back on August 29th of 2018, where were you working?
Service.
And what were you doing for them?
Management.
How long did you work for Sugar?
5 years.
Can all of you hear all right? And the alternates as well? You can hear okay? Thank you.
So you worked for them for 5 years as a manager?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And where were you living at the time?
Over on Don Drive.
Was it 5386 Don Drive?
Yes, sir.
How long had you lived there before this incident occurred?
For a few years. Not sure exactly.
Was it a pretty quiet neighborhood?
Yes, sir.
I mean, no trouble usually?
Yes.
So that day, had you been working at Sugar's?
Yes, sir.
What was your general hours that you worked at Sugar's at that time?
All long hours.
About how late did you get off work?
It varied, but anywhere from what I had to do that day. But I mean, there's times I get out there at midnight or so. Just kind of depending on the day.
You don't remember since it's only been 5 years, you don't remember what time you got off work that night, do you?
Correct.
So you get home. Were you alone at the house that night?
My roommate and his dad were sleeping, but I was by myself.
Okay. Were you just up or were you in bed?
Yeah, I was inside, just lounging around, getting ready for bed. I wanted to start a series.
Okay. So with your working late hours and stuff, do you usually stay up that late, about 2 o'clock in the morning?
Yes.
So you wanted a cigarette. Where were your cigarettes? And where was your car parked?
Driving.
Do you usually keep your car locked?
Yes, sir.
So you go outside to go to your car, get your cigarette?
Yes.
All right. Were you alone when you went outside?
I was company by myself.
Okay, but when you walked outside, nobody came out with you from the house.
Correct.
All right. Did you see anyone in the neighborhood?
How you said?
What did you see?
A male walking down the street.
Okay, from your house, which way was he walking?
I was in the driveway looking out from the left, walking to the right.
Okay, was he in front of your house or was he down the street a little ways?
Down the street a little ways, but not too far.
Okay, was he a house or two down or? So he's walking. Could you see who he was?
I could tell it was a young guy.
Okay.
Wearing black.
Did he have anything on, like a hoodie or anything?
Yeah, black.
Did he have the hood up or did he have the hood down?
When I saw him walking, he had it down.
So he's walking away from you? Is that right?
Correct. He definitely walking down the street.
Did you pay any attention to him after that?
No, because he was kind of young, but I noticed he had started walking the other way.
What do you mean the other way?
Turned around and started walking back where he was walking from.
Okay, so you saw him turn. Was there anything different after he turned and started walking the other way?
Even his hood was up.
So he put his hoodie on to turn around. Yes?
Yes.
I'm sorry, he's got to type that down and noises don't make sense, words do. So he's got his hoodie up when he's turning back around. Was he walking towards you or just down the street the opposite direction?
Just on the street.
What did you do once you saw him turn around?
I didn't really pay much mind. I was, reaching out of the car for my cigarettes.
Where were your cigarettes at? Do you remember?
I just didn't.
So you reach in to get cigarettes. What's the next thing that you remember having?
Well, that's when I was getting in my car. That's when I, hear footsteps and, kind of felt presence. That's when I turned around. That's when
Turn around and what?
he had a gun in my face.
Had a gun in your face. Could you tell, did it look like a real gun?
Yes.
What kind of gun was it?
Like a handgun.
Was it was it a revolver?
Yes.
So it was like one of the 9mm or something, just semi-automatic.
Yes.
And so he's got that gun. Where's it pointed at?
Pointed at me, at my face.
Does he have his arm extended, or has he got his arm in like this? How's he extended?
Yeah, he was pretty worked up about it.
Okay. What was he saying?
So I told him I didn't have any money. And that's when he swung the pistol and hit me in the cheek. And then he said, "Give me your wallet." And that's when I realized my wallet was sitting right there into the seat. So I ran it, threw it at him, and hit him, fell down, and he grabbed it.
So when he hit you, did it cause you any kind of injury?
Yeah, abrasion.
Let me show you what's marked. This second exhibits 1, 2, and 3. See if you recognize those. Are those fairly inaccurately depict the injury that you had at night? Offender states 1, 2, and 3, Judge.
No objection, states 1, 2, and 3.
And they are admitted.
So looking at stage 1, this is, which cheek is that you got the scratch on? So when he swung at you, what did you?
It's not huge, but it's top right in the witnesses box there. They're showing the pictures.
do?
It caught. It hit me and it kind of grazed me at the same time. You know what I mean? Like a hit. Does that make sense?
Okay. Stage 2, is that a little closer view? Is that a little closer view of the cheekbone?
Yes.
Okay. And then looking at stage exhibit 3, that's even closer yet, isn't it?
Yes.
Now, did it hurt? After he hit you, what did he do?
That's when you say give your wallet. That's when, I'm not sure if he pointed at it or what. And I just realized my wallet was sitting out in my car. And so, of course, instead of fighting over it, I grabbed it and threw it at him.
What did he do after he
Thank
got the
you.
wallet? Okay, so let's kind of go through this. When he first came up, he tells you, give you all the money. And then you said, I don't have any money. And he hits you, says, give me your wallet. And so you reach in and get the wallet and give it to him.
Threw it at him.
And threw it at him. Okay. So all this time, you two are standing face to face, right? Did you get a good look at him?
Yes.
What did you notice about him that kind of stood out to you while you were looking at him?
That he was young and he had small eyes.
Were those eyes really something that stood out to you? About how tall do you think he was?
Yeah, anywhere, it's hard for me to judge, but 5'7", 5'8", 5'9".
Did you tell the police officer that he was like 5'5", 5'6" at the time?
Yes.
And then later, did you talk to a detective the next day? Or actually a couple of days later?
Yes.
And give him a statement?
Yes.
And what did you tell him the height was?
5'8", 5'9".
If your statement said 5'7", 5'8", that sound more like that, right?
Yes.
Okay. Was he taller than you?
Yeah.
Were you looking and trying to measure him? What were you looking at?
Gun.
The gun and what else?
Basically it.
Yeah, looking at the gun and who's behind the gun?
Right.
Were you looking at him?
Okay.
Could you tell what color shoes he's wearing?
No.
Could you tell what size his shoes were? Okay, so you're looking right at him like this. Was he a little taller than you?
Yes.
Was he much taller than you? You don't know?
Smaller.
Okay.
I'm short, so it's hard for me to judge height.
So tell the police 5'5", 5'6", tell the detective 5'7", 5'8", but you know he's taller than you. And you're how tall?
5'3".
You're 5'3"?
5'3".
Okay, so he was a little taller than you.
Yes.
So he runs off. Where does he go?
Down the street, cut through one of the neighbor's yards.
Over a fence?
Yes, sir.
How far down did you follow him, or could you see him?
Not very far.
What did you do after he got out and took off?
Yes, I read it.
You little
He called
guy.
911. Let me show you what's marked the State's Exhibit 4. Did you listen to this 911 call up in my office just this morning?
Yes.
This afternoon, sorry. And is this a complete recording of the 911 call that you made?
Yes.
And your voice on here?
Yes, sir.
And is this the call you made on August 29, 2018?
Yes.
Tender, State 4.
Objection to state's order.
Admitted.
Permission to
All right, this probably isn't exciting for you guys, but this is people laying reasonable foundations and opposing counsel not making stupid objections that aren't getting anywhere. Again, it's refreshing.
publish.
That's granted.
Wednesday, 2018, 0204 and 46 seconds.
Caller 911, where's the address of the emergency?
386 Long Drive in the DAWN. Robbery come up. He didn't came over the gun. I was in my yard to give me a cigarette. He saw my wallet in my front seat and made me get it out of my car.
Please, this
Get
is
my wallet. Yeah. Young black male, wearing all black with a black hoodie, has a hoodie over his head, small eyes. He's 16 to 18 years old. He's just
okay, so you say young black male, blue black hoodie, and how long was the gun? Was it small gun? Small gun?
It was a pistol.
A pistol, you
And
said,
he just with me.
okay, do you need an ambulance?
No, not at all. Yeah, my wallet, my ID, and my debit card. I don't have any money left on my debit card. There's 500 cash in there, but
So he didn't take your card though, right? He just took the wallet?
yeah, I'm sorry, I meant card. Yeah, just my wallet. Speaking of that.
Okay, so you'll need an ambulance. Which way was the last thing you dealt with?
Down Dawn, like my house was on the corner of Hazelwood and Dawn kind of, and we went toward, I don't know what the other street called. Okay, yeah, some person over there, but he ran towards Peachland. But I'm pretty sure, I've seen this kid at the house that these people moved into not long ago, and he's supposed to be their yard. So I kind of let him
You need to know how far. 37.
I can see it from my house. It's the one in the house over in the street. I don't know if you can out the house
You're
now.
not across the street from you. Is it to the left of there or to the
But,
to the left? Okay.
I'm in my driveway looking at all this area to the left. Well, I don't know if you want to punch out, but he must have been gone. I see that he's still.
Okay. Did you say you've been there before?
I'm not being sure. I don't know what and these are, what is it? I don't know. I don't know what was it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was small. No.
You have a small one?
A small building that cuts through the yard and they go in the house, so,
Okay.
he probably won't go on through these streets, but,
What's your name, sir?
Carson Kilgore,
Can you spell your last name for me?
Kilgore.
Okay, let me say Carson. Okay, we have an officer in the area. They're going to check for him first. Just let me know when you see the officer, okay?
Alright, thank you. You tell Tom?
Yes, sir. Just, they'll let you know, or they'll let me know, tell you when you're able to come outside. They just
Well,
want
I'm already saying out
to
here.
you're already saying outside, what do you wear yourself?
Yeah.
That's you.
White t-shirt and, some, what's it called? What pants, cut off shorts, sweat shorts.
But what's that?
I'm not even really worried about the money. I wouldn't even call these kids with a gun, man. I mean, these kids gotta get their shit under control.
Yes, sir. It's always smart just to make sure that nobody gets hurt.
I'm pretty good. I really, I stay with my friend and his dad, and I'm really trying not to wake him up. So, I don't know if they're gonna come out flying in the driveway or something, but
If,
I'll see him.
we'll see the officers.
Someone has a
Yeah.
time stamp for me,
Okay,
maybe.
I'm gonna let you go see if you speak with them, okay?
Uh-huh.
You get there.
Did you hang up?
Yes, sir. As long as you see the officer, we can hang up.
Does this help?
Okay, thanks.
You're welcome.
It's the only button I have to press.
So the officers showed up while you're talking to her on the phone?
Yes.
And did they come right to you or did they just start looking around the neighborhood first?
I think one or two of them me and then other ones were following with me.
So did they find anybody that night?
Yes.
A few days later, did something catch your attention that caused you to know who the person was that did this?
Yes.
And what caught your attention?
This is interesting.
Notifications on my phone, news article, I don't remember which news article it was. But I had those pop-ups and had his mugshot, I guess robbed something somewhere else, somebody else. And as soon as I saw the face, I knew that was the face that robbed me.
What'd you do whenever you saw the face?
I went to the police station.
Where were you at when you saw it?
At work, at Shoes.
Okay. And Sugar's a downtown, pretty close to the police department. Ain't it? So did you go to the police department?
I did.
And did you tell them what you had seen? What did they do in response to that?
Did just made the statement and the lineup. And all.
Okay, so you gave a written statement or a sworn statement to the police. And did you tell them what you just told the jury today?
Yes, sir.
Except for the height deal was 5'7", 5'8", is that right?
Correct.
All right. Now, the photo spread that they showed you, they showed you this after you had seen that person, right?
Right. Yes, sir.
Did that,
I mean, the world has changed completely, like while I've been practicing, which is about 300 years. So that's not that surprising. But this stuff, like, so the police put out, or somebody put out a story and he's like, that's the guy who did this. And of course, you see all the defendants that are posting their own stuff, or the guys in the Extentacion case that posting the money and all that stuff. So it shocks me how often social media or posts from the police department or news things break cases these days.
influence your decision as to what that person looked like? I mean, did you already know what that person looked like before you saw that photo on your pop-up?
Right. I mean,
Well, he was
I knew
snacking
his
just a
face
minute
was
ago.
right when I saw the photo. That was him. I thought it was him.
It wasn't the photo that made you go, oh, I think that might be him? Or were you sure that was him?
I was sure that was him.
And the same thing, when they went to show you this photo lineup, did you have any trouble picking him out?
Yes.
Let me show you what's marked as State's Exhibit 5. See if you can recognize this.
I had a homeless guy who hung out outside of my office for years who used to call me Charlie Sheen. This is funny you say that.
Is this a copy of, or the actual photo spread that they showed you that they, in the police department on, I believe that was September the 8th of 2018. Interstate 5.
Don't worry, this does get a little worse.
Isn't it?
Cross-examination is surprising. It's not wacky. It just goes someplace I didn't expect.
So let's look at this. This State's Exhibit 5. This is a Beaumont Police Department photographic lineup form. Is that correct?
Yes.
And did they read this form to you and give you the instructions about what you're supposed to do
Yes, sir.
and how this was going to go? Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
So let's go through these. This is case number 2018-20024. And the admonition says, read the following to the witness. You said they read this to you. You will be shown a number of photographs. I have been asked to show these photographs to you, but do not know the identity of the perpetrator. These photographs are numbered, and I will show you them one at a time in random order. Please take as much time as you need before moving to the next photograph. All the photographs will be shown even if you make an identification. The person who committed the crime may or may not be in this lineup, and you should not feel compelled to choose anyone. Regardless of whether you make an identification, we will continue to investigate this incident. If you recognize anyone, please tell me which photograph you recognize and how or why you recognize the individual. You should not discuss the identification procedure or its results with other eyewitnesses involved in the case, and you should not speak with the media regarding any identification you make.
Okay, this is all just interesting to me. I'm just nerding out here because I don't do this. And all of this stuff makes sense, but I hadn't thought about it before.
If you make an identification, I'm required to ask you to state in your own words how certain you are when you make the identification. And it says that I, Carson Kilgore, understand the above lineup information. Lineup Administrator Detective Reyes. Order the photograph shown was 614-235. That say the statement of the victim eyewitness on the 7th day of September, not 8th day of September, 2018 at 4:37 p.m. I viewed a photographic lineup. This lineup contained photographs of 6 persons. I did identify the person number 4. Identification comments level of certainty was 100% sure. And is that your signature under viewer signature?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So did you go through these? They go through these photographs one at a time.
Yes, sir.
Let's go through these. This is candidate number 6. This is candidate number 1. This is candidate number 4. And this is the person you picked out. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
And are these your initials under this photograph?
Yes, sir.
And did you put the date 9/7/18?
Yes, sir.
And did you write 100% sure?
Yes, sir.
You continued on looking at number 2. And number 3. And, number 3 and then number 5. And you did not pick out anyone else, did you?
Correct.
Now that was 5 years ago, right?
Correct.
And that person, do you see that person in the courtroom today that you picked out not only the line of the person that robbed you that night? And can you point to him, describe something he's wearing? Record reflect he's identified the defendant.
Yes, it will.
How much different is he now than he was then? Older? Is he bigger?
Yes, sir.
Is he taller? Let's have him stand up. You please stand up. Ask the defendant to stand up. Does he look taller now?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. When you went down to the police station and identified this person, you've had 5 years to sit and think about it. Has there been any waiver in your identification? You're absolutely 100% sure, like I said, that that's the person that robbed you that night.
Yes.
Now, I'm also showing you State's Exhibit 6. Do you recognize the person in this photograph?
Yes, sir.
Who is that?
That's
That's who?
Decorah Green.
The defendant that you just identified.
Yes.
And this sticking out of his pocket, does that look familiar?
Yes.
What does that look like?
No.
Is that similar to the gun that was used to rob you?
Yes.
And does this look like the person at the time, about that same age group?
Yes, sir.
And this is Decorah Green. Peter State's Exhibit 6.
No objection to State 6, Your Honor. State's Exhibit 6 is admitted.
I have not gone to the White Claw. Perhaps I should.
So when you were being robbed and you said you saw a gun in your face, does that gun in this photograph look like the gun that was used to rob you?
Yes, sir.
And that's the one that was stuck in your face?
It resembles the one I'm seeing.
And was it one that looks like the one that hit you?
This was from today.
After that event occurred,
I think this trial's still
what did you
going.
start doing after that as far as coming out to your car or with your house or anything of that nature?
Looking up on my shoulder everywhere.
Did you have to get any, you didn't have to get any stitches or anything though, did you? Did you have to go to the doctor or anything? Was there any pain for any days after?
Okay.
One thing I forgot to ask you, 5386, I believe it was Don Street, 53.
Yes.
They got the coveted
Don
Trump
Drive. Is
endorsement.
that in Jefferson County, Texas?
Yes.
In the state of Texas. This photo spread, whenever you went to do it, did the detective in any way try to influence you or talk to you about anything that was in this report? Matter of fact, the detective, it says in there, did not even know who the person was that you were supposed to be looking for, if they were even in it. And they told you that they weren't even letting you know whether he was in there or not. Is that correct? Correct. Okay. I'll pass one.
All right.
Hold on
It's
just
not
for a
that
second.
crazy, but it surprised me.
You want to take a break right now? The jury's been in here almost an hour after lunch. Why don't we take a short break, ladies and gentlemen? Just 5-10 minutes. I report back outside, and then we will pick up with cross-examination. Thank you. Everyone else remain seated while the jury exits first. Thank you. The record shall now show that all parties are present and the jury is present, and the state, I believe, has passed the witness. Mr. Macon, you may go forward.
Thank you. Carson, do you have a middle name? And are you a father?
Yes.
Okay, and is a son, daughter, or
2 daughters.
have you ever been convicted of a felony or misdemeanor involving moral turpitude in the state of Texas?
What was the? Oh,
Turpitude, yeah. One of them legal terms.
Most people, if they're not in the practice of law, don't understand what that means. Can you rephrase your question, please? Thank you.
Back in September of 2011, were you convicted of the offense of assault family violence?
yes.
And did you get probation for that? Okay, if the records show you got probation and then it was later revoked, would that be true?
Yes, sir. No. Yes, sir.
Okay. In 2012, do you remember being convicted of possession of marijuana?
Yes.
And in that case led to the revocation of the earlier assault case, is that correct?
I didn't understand your question.
The possession of marijuana case, since you got it while you were on probation, led to the revocation of that earlier assault case.
I assume so.
Okay.
I'll sit on there.
Okay, and did you get 90 days in jail?
Yes.
Okay. And at the same time, did you also have a possession of controlled substance case, a misdemeanor, that when you pled it, it ran concurrent with all those other cases and then you got 90 days in jail? Okay.
I'm going to start bringing the dramatic hamster to court with me. Just have a clip queued up and ready to go. Whenever I say something I think is exciting and needs to be emphasized, I'm hitting the dramatic hamster. I mean, I'll lose my law license, but it'll be fun.
Then in 2013, you had a new possession of controlled substance case that you pled guilty to. Do you remember that?
Misdemeanor, yes.
Yeah. And you got 30 days in jail for that.
I think the 90 days. Let's see, and I don't know what the wrong number separate.
Okay. And you don't remember because one, it was a long time ago. And there are a lot of cases, weren't there? Okay. Well, then in 2016, you got another possession of controlled substance misdemeanor case. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And you represented yourself and pled nolo contendere and got 180 days in jail, correct?
6. That's,
No, you weren't the one, but convicted of possession of controlled substance.
You can have one, but you're going to eat it on the stand if you testify.
jail time in 2016 because my bonds were too big. That's why I had a lot of stuff on me at one time. Controlled substance, marijuana, and then there was 2 different felony controlled substance. So I sat in there from April of 2016 to it was about 4 months, and then went to court, got 5 years probation, just completed my probation in 2021.
Okay, but getting back to the misdemeanor case, may I approach your honor?
Yes.
You say you didn't get 180 days.
I don't remember.
Okay, is that you, Mateo Carson McDonald Kilgore?
Yes.
And you pled no contest and the punishment was?
Never did 180 days in jail.
What was the punishment for it? You got credit for it that time.
Okay. Then yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, a lot of times you front something like this in opening statement. You might say you're going to hear some that you're going to hear some things about my about the victim's past, but it doesn't change the facts. Yeah, he could have chosen to go that route.
And then also at that same time, you had another possession of controlled substance case, correct?
This is subtle too. I think this attorney's doing a really good job. He kept his powder dry. He didn't make a bunch of dumb objections as a defense attorney. His entire defense is, it's not my guy. This ID sucks. That's the linchpin of this case, and you cannot trust this guy. Now he's got a bunch of convictions, but a lot of it's like pot possession and BS. One of them's bad. He's got domestic violence or something, but he's slow walking it and making it sound worse. It's totally appropriate thing to do, but he's deliberately pacing it out to make it appear worse, which is a good play.
And then also at that same time, on the offense date of April 1st, 2016, you had another possession of marijuana case. You don't remember that?
There was a lot of stuff at one time. That's not fair.
Okay, why was that? It's okay. You're not acting stupid anymore. Okay. Now, the night this all happened, you didn't go in and wake up your roommate, did you?
Correct.
Weren't that shook up or anything?
I was living at their house, so the most I can keep away from them, the better.
Okay.
Of course, I'll let them know about it, but I was really,
So do you remember back in April of 2016, you kind of pled on 6 misdemeanor cases, all for possession of marijuana, possession of controlled substance, all at the same.
I like the counting as if he doesn't know. He knows damn well how many misdemeanor counts he has. It's part of its. Oh, it's a little cheesy, but it's fun.
Same time, and received a 180-day sentence, but all run together.
correct.
Okay.
They really are. These are 2 competent guys.
Now, the night the robbery happened, let's say this is your car door. Now, were you sitting in it or facing it or what?
So I was in like trying to reach in to get my cigarettes. I was like halfway in. I wasn't my knee or butt cheek, but I was halfway in, still standing up.
Okay, and then the person came up to you behind you. Did you turn this way? All the way around? Okay, guy with a gun here. What hand was the gun in? Okay, and he struck you on the left side of the face?
Yes.
So if you turn this way and he struck you on the left side, he would have been right-handed to hit you or did with a backhand on the left hand? You don't know? And then he threw the wallet at him and he ran off. How long did it take?
How long did it take forward?
The whole incident.
That's
Now, there was the lighting in there.
it was at nighttime. It was a straight light.
These pictures states 2, 1. Were they taken at the scene that night or where were they taken?
Of my face?
Yes,
Yes.
at the scene. Notice the background is pitch black. Is that correct?
In that photo,
Or was it different somewhere else?
there was different lighting other by the house, by the street. I mean, different parts. Nighttime, there's some areas that are more,
Where was states number 1 and 2 taken?
in the driveway. I don't know what part of the driveway.
You don't remember?
Oh, the part of the driveway they took a picture of my face?
Yes. But the background is pitch black. You'll agree with me.
In the photo, yes.
That's okay. Now, when you saw the pop-up, was it states number 6?
When I saw the weapon.
The pop-up you said you saw?
Oh, the news article?
Or yeah, whatever you saw. Was it this picture?
No, sir.
Okay, it was another picture?
Yes, sir.
You have that picture?
On me right now, no. It's a mugshot, I believe.
It was just a mugshot?
I think so.
You don't remember what you saw?
I saw his face.
Okay, but you saw,
That picture.
okay, but you saw that before you saw states number 6.
Correct.
And before you looked at states number 5, the photo lineup.
Correct.
Now, do you know if the police ever talked with either people at that house across the street?
I can't confirm if they did.
Okay. But you were at first pretty sure that your assailant had come from that house, correct? Okay. Why was that?
To do a lot more kids playing basketball, more than there usually were, and it was growing by the day. Just more guys over there, and not in that scene.
Okay, were they having like a basketball camp or something?
Just hanging out, play basketball, talking.
Did you feel threatened by them or anything?
Well, you discussed several officers in the opening statement, so I assume all of those at least.
You'll agree with me that the description you gave to the police that night and later didn't fit Ja'Cory Green, didn't
Agree with that.
it? Okay,
I did the best I could.
okay. I'll pass the motion.
Carson, the photograph that states Exhibit 6. You didn't see this at the time of the investigation, did you?
Correct.
The only time you saw it was when I showed it to you in my office.
Correct.
And also, when we talked today, you wanted me to bring up your jail time, didn't you? And I didn't want to bring it up, and I apologize, you wanted me to bring it up from the jury, right? Why is it you wanted me to bring up the jail time from the jury?
I know what it's like to be amongst for an extended period of time, and I would absolutely never want to put somebody behind bars if I wasn't absolutely convinced.
Thank you. I'll pass with you.
Ooh, I didn't catch it the first time. Both of those, he comes back and he said, you didn't see his picture till afterwards. His theory is going to be it's a rush of judgment. The cops are building a case because they don't have one. They're using this guy. And then he comes back and says, you didn't see this picture till I showed it to you in my office. Very good. I would make the insinuation if I was the defense attorney. I would come back with that if I was the prosecutor. Excellent on both fronts. And then he frames the issue of going to jail. He's like, I know what it's like to be in jail. I don't want to wrongfully accuse somebody. I'm like, that's a clever way to go.
So you've never been mistaken in identifying someone?
Repeat that.
You've never been mistaken in identifying someone?
Not in this magnitude, no.
Yeah, that's interesting. It really does sound like a buy for that. And it's funny because it's not coming in that way, but nobody wants to say that. Like, it's not good for the defendant or for the prosecution. So you have an agreement between the parties to pretend like this wasn't even if it was. You just you have a tacit agreement to not discuss it.
Nothing further, Jeff.
All right. Can this man be excused?
Please, sir.
You're excused, sir. Thank you. Next, please.
Officer Crossey's motion.
That's just literally an extra charge for both of them. Let's just go back to the armed robbery and whether or not it happened. Leave it at that.
Departure. I want to raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony that you are about to give shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? So help you God. Sir. Have a seat. Thank you. You can turn the microphone toward your voice, sir. Thank you very much.
Can you state his name for the jury, please?
John Cross,
And where do you work?
Beaumont Police Department.
How long have you worked for them?
12 years.
What do you do for them?
I'm currently assigned to Yodeling Pickle.
Back on August 29th of 2018, were you working for the Beaumont Police Department?
Sir.
In same capacity in patrol?
Yes, sir.
About 2:04 in the morning, did you get dispatched to a place on Don Drive?
Yes, sir.
Is that in Beaumont?
Yes.
Is that in Jefferson County, Texas?
Yes, sir.
So, what was the reason for the call? Do you remember?
It was dispatched as a robbery in progress.
When you get something like that, how vital is it that you get to the scene as quickly as possible?
Pretty important.
How long does it usually take, depending on where was your patrol area at back then? You remember?
I believe I was assigned 2B that year, which it encompasses like parts of Dowling Road, Delaware, Folsom, Grove Road. That's the general area.
You got a pretty good loop around
Yes, sir.
and all the things in between. And where does this kind of fall?
This was Dawn Drive is off Folsom. I guess the nearest like landmark would be, if you know where Madison's is, it's kind of like east of Madison's.
Okay.
So when you arrived, what were you looking for someone in particular?
First thing coming on scene is we're looking for the suspect, trying to see if we can locate anyone in the immediate area.
Were you given a kind of a general description of what you're looking for?
I don't recall 100%, but generally, that description is broadcast by dispatch over the radio.
Okay, in your report, if you put a black male wearing a black hoodie who was armed with a handgun, that sound about right?
Get my phone.
Sure, if that'll help refresh your memory. It's been a couple of years, hasn't it?
Yes, sir. Almost 5 years. Yes, dispatch advised the actor was a black male wearing a black hoodie armed with a handgun who already fled the scene.
Okay. Are you given, I guess you're given a general direction of where you were looking, other officers were looking. How many patrol units showed up out there? Do you remember?
Something like that, a lot of people do.
Yeah.
If I had to guess, like 10, 12, maybe more.
Okay. Y'all kind of go looking with flashlights, everything you can. Was there also a dog involved?
Yes, sir.
All right. Who ran the canine? Do you remember?
It was, at that time, Officer Boudreaux, Sergeant Boudreaux.
When you're looking, did y'all find anything?
Not that I recall. We didn't look at a suspect.
Okay. Is that unusual not to find somebody?
No. It's all dependent on the situation and everything like that, whether there's a good perimeter or any starting point where you're just kind of trying to see whatever the dog picks up.
A dog can only pick up a scent and with a lot of people out there running around, it got a lot of confusion as far as scents, wouldn't it?
Automatic.
Okay. But did the dog alert to anything or act like it picked up any trail?
I can't testify to whether the dog picked up a trail or not. We follow the dog on the track. I'm not the canine handler, so
Right. Officer Boudreaux didn't say we got something. Wasn't anything like that.
No.
Okay. So while you were out there, did you also talk to Carson Kilgore?
Yes.
And matter of fact, did you get the story from him and find out what had happened?
Yes, sir.
And was that before or after you searched around the area?
That was it.
Why was the reason that you waited until after to go talk to him?
Well, that time, his life was no longer in immediate danger. The suspect had already fled. At that point, the priority for public safety is to try and catch the person who was still out running around the neighborhood, armed with a gun, possibly looking for another victim. So we kind of dedicate the resources to trying to find the suspect, and then we can go back and talk to the victim, once everything is secure.
So did you also have on your body cam?
Yes, sir.
Now you have a camera attached to you right now. Is that usually where you wear your body cam?
Yep.
And how did the body cams function? How do they turn on?
There's a button on the front. These are different body cams than we had back then, but it's the same thing. There's a button on the front. You press it. The camera turns on. When it activates, it plays a 30-second preview or buffer, I guess, of whatever happened in the 30 seconds before you hit the button. But there's no audio in that buffer. It's just kind of like a emergency playback feature.
Okay. So is it constantly recording? But when you push it, it marks it.
Yes.
It goes back 30 seconds.
Yes.
And so from that call, that's where that call started from that button push.
Yes.
And then
When I arrived.
yeah, when you're right on the scene. So did it appear that your camera was working order? Now let me show you what's marked states. Exhibit 7. If you want to look this up in my office this afternoon.
Yes, sir.
And this fairly and accurately depict what happened that evening when you arrived on August 29th, 2011.
Yes, sir.
Interstate 7.
No objection, John.
Admitted.
Permission to publish.
That is granted.
It's going to be dark minutes. So. Just a 30-second silent part.
Yes, sir.
All right. I added this only a couple more minutes. I added this because you can't see it that well. It's in the witness box up there. But they're just out walking around. So I added most of it out, but I left a little so you can see the flavor of what's going on. This is all I've got.
Is this the area right near the house? Did it happen under this area?
Yes, sir. There used to be that neighborhood.
That security light out there seems to light up the area pretty well, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Well, yeah. I don't have a verdict.
It's okay. It's nothing.
Did he say how we got into the backyard? Like, did you go through the fence or drop it? Okay.
Things that we made them.
They had an audit that in this neighborhood yesterday. Mr. Sunburst. On that scout on Sunburst. It's the police department, go back in your house. It's the police department, go back in your house, please. Yeah, we've got our canine out. Come on through. Okay. You want us to go ahead and clear around here? Clear along. All right, I'm gonna check this door.
There we go. You can see the puppy.
Put it on the house and put a
So cute. Out there trying to work. Thank you.
One, after you can throw it down, remember you can't do it. Well, earlier I was checking the vehicle hot sheet, and there's a black Nissan Altima that was going out of this neighborhood yesterday. So, I don't know, I mean, it might not be related, but there ain't a whole lot of shit like that goes on in this neighborhood. So, I wouldn't be surprised if it's the same people at least. Not yet. I'll send it to you.
If if you want to stand by while I talk to him, you can, or I can just send it to you. All right, if it's not, then I'll let you know.
Well, it's a little weird. What?
Can you stop that for just a second, please? Yes, sir. Thank you. Let me see the lawyers up here.
This just makes me more curious. That's what I got. He calls the lawyers up, and I don't know. I had other stuff going on, but after that, I don't have volume, and then the video cuts off shortly after that. But that's probably because they just pulled it. I don't know. But now I'm curious as hell. Did anybody see this today? Can you tell me what's happened with the rest of the hearing? Is the trial continuing tomorrow? That's my guess. My guess is they've got, another 3 or 4 witnesses and they're not done and they'll pick back up tomorrow, but I don't know. And now I want to know if this guy's going to get convicted. I'm in, but I don't have it. I know everyone's going to be mad at me again. I put it in the title. And then I said it in the beginning. So you can all relax. I told you. But I'm really curious as to what's happening here. I could see a little bit of it, but it didn't have volume. And they were just going, that video isn't great because it's small and it's in there. And there doesn't seem to be much happening. But I think there might be some more. I want to know what corroborating evidence they have. If you believe the victim, that's the guy. He puts a gun in his face. The defense attorney does a nice job. I mean, I can see it all day long. The way you say, "Oh, you're going to put my sweet innocent client in jail," on the word of this pot smoking loser who can't even describe him right. That's how you close this thing. But it depends on the corroborating evidence. Everyone went for burgers. All right. So there you go. All right. Well, that's all I have. I don't have a timestamp for that. I would have run over to Manning, but I don't have a timestamp. Apparently there was something funny in there, but I looked at it. It's a 2-hour feed. I can't do another 2 hours. I've got places to be and people to see. I'm trashed. I'm not. I've not had I drank last night, but I have not. This right here is soda. I am sober as a deacon. I have not had anything today. So I'm not trashed. I'm not even buzzed. All right. You guys are the best. I'll try to find it. I'm curious about this trial now. I'm going to try to find it, but I don't know. So I guess I'll check on Judge Stevens' room. If anybody knows anything, send it to me on IG or Discord or something. Give me a clue as to what's going on. I'm not seeing where anybody is telling me the story yet, but I'm sure I know, believe me, I know in my group, somebody was watching this thing. Somebody was watching and knows exactly what happened. I'm guessing they went on with a couple more witnesses. It wasn't that exciting. And they broke for the day, and they've got a couple more witnesses. Probably close tomorrow and goes to the jury. That's my guess, but it's just a wild ass guess based upon the pace of what's happened so far. All right, you guys are the best. I will see you soon.